The Galactic Peace Summit was held once every 100 years. Leaders from all corners of the galaxy gathered on a neutral space station floating between stars. This year, the humans arrived late, but when they did, they surprised everyone. Their delegation included children. The other species were confused and offended. Tall, insect-like diplomats clicked their mandibles in irritation. The reptilian ambassadors hissed in disbelief. Why bring children here? They mocked. This is a place for leaders, not babysitters. The human representative, a calm and confident woman named Captain Lin, simply smiled. You'll see, she said. Her cryptic response made the others laugh even more, but Lin didn't explain. The children, about 12 to 14 years old, stood quietly in the background, observing everything with sharp, focused eyes. The summit began, and discussions of trade and alliances took center stage. Suddenly, alarms blared across the station. The lights dimmed, and a robotic voice echoed, WARNING. HOS, TILFOR, CESA, PPRO, a CHING. Panic spread through the assembly. A giant fleet of warships, belonging to a brutal species called the Grax, had surrounded the station. The Grax were infamous for conquering planets and enslaving entire species. Their leader, a towering beast with dark metallic armor, appeared on the holographic screen. Today, we end this farce of peace. The Grax leader growled. This galaxy belongs to the strong. Surrender or die. Chaos erupted. Diplomats from peaceful species begged for mercy, while others scrambled to escape. Captain Lin, however, remained calm. She turned to the children and gave a single nod. The children immediately sprang into action. Stay together, one of them said to the human diplomats. Follow our lead. The alien leaders watched in disbelief as the children pulled devices from their small backpacks. These were not toys, they were advanced weapons, communication tools, and portable shields. Within minutes, the children had taken control of the room. What are you doing? Hissed an alien ambassador. You're sending children to fight? They're not just children, Captain Line replied. Her tone was cold and serious now. They're our best hope. As the Grax soldiers breached the station, the children split into groups. One team secured the main entrance, setting up traps and ambushes. Another team hacked into the station's systems, taking control of its defenses. A third group guided the frightened diplomats to safety. The Grax were relentless, but they were also arrogant. They underestimated the small, agile humans. The children used their size and speed to their advantage, slipping through vents and corridors to strike where the enemy was weakest. One boy, barely 13, led a group of Grax soldiers into a trap. He activated a hidden drone that released a blinding flash of light, disorienting the enemy. Before the soldiers could recover, the boy and his teammates neutralized them with precision shots. Meanwhile, a girl named Kara worked furiously at the station's control panel. I need more time to override the shields, she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. You've got 2 minutes, replied her partner, a serious-looking boy who was keeping watch. After that, we're out of options. The children's training was evident in every move they made. They communicated through hand signals and short, efficient commands. They stayed calm under pressure, even as explosions rocked the station. The alien diplomats, hiding in a safe room, watched the chaos unfold on security monitors. They couldn't believe their eyes. How are these children doing this? One of them whispered. Captain Line finally explained. On Earth, we train our children from a young age. We prepare them for the worst. Survival, combat, strategy, it's part of who we are. The aliens were stunned. Their own children were sheltered and protected, kept far away from danger. But humans? Humans turned their young into warriors. Back in the control room, Kara let out a triumphant shout. Got it! The station's defenses are online. Turrets and energy barriers activated throughout the station, cutting off the Grax forces. The tide of battle turned. The children pressed their advantage, coordinating strikes that forced the invaders to retreat. The Grax leader, furious at his defeat, issued one final threat. You think this is over? You'll regret this, humans. But as he spoke, one of the children hacked into his communication feed. "No," the child said calmly. "You'll regret underestimating us." The Grex fleet retreated, and the station was saved. The alien diplomats emerged from hiding, still shaken but alive. They looked at the human children with a mixture of awe and fear. One alien ambassador, a towering reptilian creature, finally spoke. "We laughed at you. We called you weak. But now we see the truth." Captain Lin nodded. "Earth has always been a dangerous place. We had to adapt to survive. Now, the galaxy will know why humans prepare from the moment we are born." As the children regrouped, tired but victorious, one of them turned to Captain Lin. "What's next?" Lin smiled. "We train harder. The galaxy isn't safe yet." The alien leaders exchanged uneasy glances. They had learned an important lesson that day: never underestimate humans. And deep in their hearts, they all wondered the same thing: what else are these humans capable of? The Galactic Tournament was the most dangerous event in the universe. Held once every 1,000 years, it was a competition where the strongest and smartest species fought for glory. Each round tested survival, combat, and strategy, and losing didn't just mean humiliation, it often meant death. This time, 28 species signed up, each bringing their greatest champions. Massive reptilian warriors, energy beings with powers beyond imagination, and towering robots designed purely for war. The audience was thrilled. They expected epic battles. Then came humanity's turn. When the human ship docked, everyone waited to see their warriors. The aliens expected tall, muscular soldiers or brilliant scientists. Instead, a group of teenagers walked out, led by a calm man in a military uniform. The crowd fell silent. Then came the laughter. "These are their champions," a shark-like alien said, smirking. "Did they send children by mistake?" another alien joked. But the man leading the group, Commander Reeves, was unfazed. He simply said, "Let's begin." Round 1, the survival challenge. The first round was brutal. The participants were dropped on a hostile planet covered in acid rain, deadly plants, and aggressive wildlife. The goal was simple: survive for 24 hours. The other species used brute strength and advanced technology to fight off the dangers. But the humans? They disappeared into the shadows. While the others fought the wildlife head-on, the human teens set traps, used the environment to their advantage, and avoided unnecessary fights. A boy named Ethan led his group to a hidden cave, where they set up a small camp. "Stay quiet," he whispered. "Let the others waste their energy." By the time the 24 hours ended, many participants had been eliminated, eaten, poisoned, or too injured to continue. The humans, however, emerged from their hiding spots unharmed. The crowd was stunned. How had these children survived when stronger species had failed? Round 2, the puzzle of death. The second round was a deadly puzzle. The participants were trapped in a giant maze filled with shifting walls, traps, and robotic guards. The only way out was to solve a series of complex riddles. The reptilian species smashed through walls. The robotic species tried to outthink the maze. But the humans split into small teams and started analyzing the traps. One of the girls, Mia, quickly figured out the pattern in the shifting walls. "This isn't random," she said. "The walls move based on sound. Stay silent, and they won't trap you." Meanwhile, another group of humans hacked into the robotic guard systems using their training in Earth's advanced war games. They reprogrammed the guards to attack other participants instead of them. The audience watched in amazement as the humans solved the maze faster than anyone else. "How are they doing this?" an alien commentator whispered. Round 3, the combat arena. Be the third round. Most species had been eliminated. Only a handful remained, including the humans. The final challenge was direct combat in an arena filled with obstacles and weapons. The aliens expected the humans to fail here. After all, they were just kids. What chance did they have against armored giants and energy-wielding creatures? The arena doors opened, and the fight began. But the humans didn't charge blindly like the others. Instead, they moved with precision, using hit-and-run tactics to wear down their opponents. They climbed walls, used obstacles for cover, and worked as a team. At T1 point, a hulking alien cornered a small human boy. The audience thought it was over, but the boy smiled and threw a flash grenade, blinding the alien. As the alien stumbled, two other humans attacked from behind, taking it down. Commander Reeves watched from the sidelines, proud but unsurprised. These teens had been training for this their entire lives. On Earth, war games weren't just a sport, they were a way of life. The final revelation when the humans won the tournament. No one could believe it. How had teenagers defeated the strongest warriors in the universe? In the victory ceremony, an alien leader demanded answers. How is this possible? You are just children. Commander Reeves stepped forward, his face calm but serious. On Earth, we face challenges every day. Our planet is harsh, and our history is filled with conflict. To survive, we prepare our children from a young age. They play war games not for fun, but to train their minds and bodies. The crowd murmured in disbelief. One alien asked, "So this is normal for humans?" Training children for war? Reeves nodded. Yes. Earth is dangerous, but it made us stronger. These kids have spent their entire lives preparing for situations like this. The alien leader stared at the humans with a mix of fear and respect. If these are your children, I can't imagine what your adults are capable of. Reeves smiled. You'll never have to find out, as long as we remain allies. The humans left the tournament as legends. The galaxy would never look at them the same way again. And deep in their hearts, the other species knew one thing: humanity was not to be underestimated. The Galactic War Council had sent a desperate message to Earth. A ruthless alien species known as the Kragans had launched an invasion across the galaxy, destroying entire planets. Their armies were unstoppable, and their technology was far more advanced than anyone else's. The Council begged Earth to send their greatest warriors. The other galactic species had heard of Earth's resilience. They knew humans were survivors, born from a dangerous world filled with constant threats. If anyone could fight the Kragans, it was the humans. Earth responded quickly. But when the ship arrived at the Council's headquarters, confusion spread among the gathered leaders. The ship's doors opened, and a group of young humans stepped out. Teenagers. The Council members were stunned. This must be some kind of joke. A towering, armored alien shouted. His voice echoed through the great hall. These are your warriors? Another alien sneered. She was covered in scales that shimmered like gold. You send children to fight the Kragans? Are you mocking us? The leader of the human team, a 15-year-old girl named Emily, stepped forward. Her face was calm, her eyes sharp. We are Earth's warriors, she said. We don't need to be adults to win. The laughter in the room was loud and mocking, but Emily and her team didn't react. They stood silently, waiting. The human commander who accompanied them, a middle-aged man named Colonel Harris, finally spoke. Do not judge them by their age, Harris said. Judge them by what they can do. The council was unconvinced, but they had no time to argue. The Kragans were advancing quickly, and they needed every fighter they could get. Reluctantly, they allowed the humans to join the front lines. The first battle took place on a shattered moon, where the Kragans were building a massive weapon to destroy nearby planets. The galaxy's forces launched a full-scale attack, but the Kragans were prepared. The battlefield was chaos. Ships fired lasers across the sky, soldiers clashed in the dust, and explosions shook the ground. Emily and her team were deployed near the weapon site. Their mission was simple: destroy the power core of the weapon. But getting there meant sneaking past hundreds of heavily armed Kragans. We move in pairs, Emily ordered. Stay low, stay silent, and stick to the plan. The team spread out, using their small size and speed to evade detection. While the Kragans were focused on the larger, louder, alien soldiers, the humans slipped through the shadows. One of the boys, Alex, planted explosives along a key pathway. When a group of Kragans approached, he detonated the charges, creating a massive distraction. That should keep them busy, he whispered with a grin. Meanwhile, Emily and another teammate, Zara, reached the power core. It was protected by an energy shield and several Kragan guards. Zara tapped her wrist device, hacking into the shield system. "Give me 2 minutes," she said. Emily nodded and took position, silently taking out the guards one by one with her energy bow. When Zara finally brought the shield down, Emily set the explosives on the core. "Time to go," Emily said, and the two of them sprinted back to their extraction point. Moments later, the core exploded, taking the Kragan weapon with it. The humans had completed their mission flawlessly. The turning point, the victory on the shattered moon, shocked the galaxy. The Council couldn't believe that a team of teenagers had achieved what entire armies had failed to do. How did they manage this? A reptilian leader asked Colonel Harris. Harris smiled. "Humans start training young," he explained. "On Earth, children learn survival skills before they even reach adulthood. They play games that teach them strategy, combat, and problem-solving. By the time they're teenagers, they're ready for war." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had underestimated humans, and now they were beginning to see just how dangerous they could be. The final mission, the Kragans, furious at their defeat, launched a counterattack on a key galactic base. If they captured it, the entire galaxy would fall. The council deployed every available soldier to defend the base, but the Kragans' forces were overwhelming. In the chaos of battle, the humans were given the most dangerous mission yet: infiltrate the Kragan command ship and take out their leader. Emily and her team boarded the ship using stolen Kragan uniforms. Once inside, they split up, disabling key systems and planting explosives. But the Kragans soon discovered the intruders. Alarms blared, and soldiers swarmed the corridors. Emily led her team through the ship, fighting off enemies at every turn. Despite their young age, the humans were faster and smarter than the Kragans had expected. They used every trick they had learned during their training on Earth. When they finally reached the Kragan leader's chamber, Emily didn't hesitate. She activated the explosives, destroying the command center and killing the leader. The Kragan's forces, now leaderless and disorganized, began to retreat. The galaxy had been saved. A new respect. When the humans returned to the council, they were greeted with silence. The alien leaders, who had mocked them before, now looked at them with respect and fear. One alien spoke up. "We owe you our lives. But I must ask, if these are your children, what are your adults like?" Emily smiled. "You'll never need to find out, as long as we stay on the same side." From that day on, the galaxy remembered the young warriors of Earth not as children, but as legends. The Kragans came without warning. Massive warships darkened the skies of Earth's colonies, and their brutal soldiers swept across cities, leaving destruction in their wake. No species had ever stood against them and survived. The Kragans were ruthless, efficient, and unstoppable. At first, Earth's allies assumed the humans would beg for help. After all, the Kragans had conquered civilizations far more advanced than humanity. But instead of surrendering, Earth went silent. Weeks passed, and rumors began to spread through the galaxy. Had Earth been destroyed? Had the humans fled? No one knew for sure until the broadcast began. All across the galaxy, intercepted messages from Earth showed the same thing: groups of young humans, barely out of childhood, training for war. Some practiced combat in abandoned cities. Others worked in simulated jungles, mountains, and deserts, honing their survival skills. The other species were confused. Why were children being prepared for battle? Where were Earth's armies? The first encounter, the Kragans expected an easy victory when they landed on Earth. They sent massive ground forces to sweep through the forests of the planet's largest continent. What they found, however, wasn't an unprepared species, but a battlefield that seemed alive. Kragan soldiers fell into hidden pits, lined with sharpened stakes. Others triggered traps that unleashed explosions or collapsing trees. Every step forward was a struggle, and the Kragans soon realized they were being hunted. In the shadows of the forest, small groups of human teenagers moved silently. They wore camouflage, their faces painted to blend with their surroundings. They struck quickly, using guerrilla tactics to pick off the Kragans one by one. Elliot, the leader of one such group, crouched behind a fallen tree as he watched a Kragan patrol pass by. He gave a silent hand signal, and his team moved into position. "Wait," he whispered. The Kragans walked into an ambush. In seconds, The humans attacked, using makeshift weapons and traps to take them down. By the time the Kragans realized what was happening, it was already too late. The young warriors disappeared back into the forest, leaving no trace behind. The strategy of survival as the days turned into weeks. The Kragans grew frustrated. They had expected to crush Earth's resistance within days, but instead, they were being outmaneuvered by children. What the Kragans didn't understand was that Earth had been preparing for this for generations. Humanity had learned the hard way that survival was not a right, it was a skill. On Earth, every child grew up learning how to adapt. They were taught how to find food, build shelter, and defend themselves. Games of strategy and survival were a normal part of life. What the galaxy saw as play, humans saw as preparation. The Kragans soon realized they weren't fighting inexperienced children. They were fighting seasoned warriors who had been training since they could walk. A desperate plan. The Kragan commander, furious at his army's lack of progress, ordered a direct assault on Earth's largest city. "Let's see how they survive when there's nowhere to hide," he growled. The Kragans launched a massive attack, their ships hovering over the city as thousands of soldiers marched through the streets. The humans, outnumbered and outgunned, seemed to have no chance. But Earth's children were ready. In the heart of the city, a 16-year-old girl named Kara led her team into action. She'd been trained by her parents, both former soldiers, and she knew the city's layout better than anyone. "They think we're cornered," Kara said, her voice steady. "But we've turned the city into a trap." Using underground tunnels, rooftops, and hidden passageways, Kara's team launched hit-and-run attacks on the Kragans. They sabotaged supply lines, cut off communications, and turned the Kragans' own weapons against them. When the Kragans tried to regroup, they found themselves trapped in narrow streets filled with barricades and snipers. The humans had planned every detail, turning the city into a maze of death. The final stand. The Kragans were relentless. Despite their losses, they pushed deeper into the city, determined to crush the resistance. But as they reached the city's central plaza, they found themselves surrounded. Kara stood at the head of a large group of young fighters, their weapons raised. She stepped forward, her voice ringing out across the plaza. "You thought we were weak because we're young," she said. "But we've been training for this our entire lives. You invaded our home, and now you'll see what it means to fight humans on Earth." The final battle was fierce. The Kragans, though powerful, were no match for the humans' tactics and determination. They had underestimated their enemy, and it cost them dearly. By the time the sun rose, the Kragans were retreating, their forces shattered. Earth's children had won. The lesson of Earth news of the humans' victory spread quickly across the galaxy. The other species were in awe. How had children managed to defeat the most feared army in the universe? A message from Earth answered their questions. "On our planet," the broadcast said, "survival is not a gift. It is something we earn every day. From the moment we are born, we learn how to adapt, fight, and endure. You may see our children as young, but we see them as warriors. This is the way of Earth." The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. The Kragans had invaded hundreds of planets across the galaxy, leaving behind nothing but ashes and ruins. Their empire had stretched so far and wide that many species feared their reach would be unstoppable. When the Kragans set their eyes on Earth, they expected a quick victory. The galaxy watched, knowing Earth was not technologically advanced like the Kragans or some other species. They lacked the massive warships, the advanced weaponry, and the devastating powers that the Kragans possessed. Surely the humans would fall within days. The first Kragan ships landed on Earth's surface, and the skies darkened as they began their assault. The powerful invaders moved with overwhelming force, and humanity seemed to be at their mercy. Yet, in the midst of this chaos, something unexpected happened. Earth's children fought back. The human response to the world was in turmoil, but humanity's response was unlike anything the Kragans had predicted. In every corner of Earth, people began to gather. Not just soldiers, but ordinary citizens, teenagers, and children, all eager to protect their homes. They came together in small groups, using every resource they had: old weapons, homemade traps, and clever strategies. In a forest outside a major city, a group of 14-year-olds led the charge against a Kragan scout unit. They were not soldiers, but they knew their home well. They set traps that confused and disoriented the Kragan soldiers, outsmarting them at every turn. The Kragans were caught by surprise as they fell into pits, their advanced technology failing to give them the edge they expected. One of the children, a boy named Leo, whispered, "We have the advantage here. They don't know the land like we do. Let's move." They moved like shadows, using the environment to their advantage. The Kragans couldn't understand how they were being outmaneuvered by such young humans. The children didn't just fight, they thought. They adapted. The first major victory after a few weeks of relentless fighting, the Kragans attempted to take control of a major city. They believed that once they captured the humans' largest population center, the resistance would crumble. But once again, the humans had a different plan. The city was surrounded by mountains and valleys, and the Kragans tried to march straight through. But the humans, using their knowledge of the land, created a series of barricades and trenches. They made the Kragans march through narrow passes, where the humans attacked in waves, forcing the invaders into a bottleneck. It wasn't just strategy. It was the humans' sheer will to survive that made them dangerous. A girl named Maya, just 16 years old, stood at the front of the resistance in the city. With her team, she led the charge to sabotage the Kragan supply lines. "We'll break their control over this city," she said, her voice unwavering. "We're not afraid to fight for it." They used explosives, and every Kragan who attempted to reinforce their forces was met with deadly accuracy. By the time the Kragans realized what was happening, they were forced to retreat. The humans had taken the city back. The unexpected weapon as the war continued, the Kragans grew more desperate. The humans' resistance was far stronger than they had expected. The alien invaders began to change their tactics, sending their deadliest warriors and weapons. But still, they couldn't break through. Earth's children, however, were not only using their physical strength to fight, they had something far greater. Their minds. Zara, a 17-year-old genius, discovered the Kragan communication system's weakness. "It's all about patterns," she said, pointing at the map on the screen. "If we can hack into their network and disrupt their command, we can take down their forces one by one." Her idea was simple yet brilliant. By manipulating the Kragan systems, she caused them to send false orders, confusing their commanders. Kragan troops were scattered, many of them running in the wrong directions, wasting time and losing ground. The humans took advantage of this, launching their final offensive. With Zara's help, the humans managed to deliver a devastating blow to the Kragans' communication network, rendering their army useless. The Kragans were now fighting blindly. The last stand, the Kragans, having lost their strategic advantage, prepared for their last attempt to dominate Earth. Their final assault would come in full force, with all their might, but the humans had already made their move. As the Kragan warships descended upon Earth's last remaining stronghold, the human fighters, both children and adults, gathered their courage. There would be no more hiding in the shadows or running away. This would be the final battle. Leo, Maya, and Zara stood side by side, ready to lead their team. "We've already won," Maya said quietly. "We've fought for this. We've fought for each other." And they had. Every victory had brought them closer, forged them into a team that could stand against the Kragans. They were no longer children. They were warriors. The battle was fierce. Explosions rocked the ground as Earth's forces clashed with the remaining Kragan troops. But even with their superior numbers and technology, the Kragans couldn't outlast the humans. The Kragans' arrogance had been their greatest mistake. They had underestimated the power of humanity's will to survive. When the last Kragan fell, the galaxy was left in awe. The human race had proven something that no one could ignore. Earth's greatest strength was not in its technology or weapons, but in its people. The humans had turned their weaknesses into strengths, and their resolve had been unbreakable. The galaxy's new understanding as Earth's warriors stood victorious. The galaxy took note. The Kragans had learned the hard way what it meant to fight against humans. They had expected to crush the Earthlings easily. But they had forgotten one key thing: humans were born to survive. The galaxy would never see humanity as weak again. They were no longer just a small species on the edge of the universe. They had become a force that even the greatest invaders could not conquer. And humanity's hidden strength? It wasn't just their ability to fight, it was their will to live, to adapt, and to never give up. The Kragans had failed to break that will. Earth's children had shown the galaxy that sometimes the greatest power lies in the most unexpected places.